All right, I hit the button. All right, we're live. We're late because of Sean's story time. Because Sean was telling everyone a story. So, I'm blaming you, Sean. Deal with
Alcohol
it.
was involved.
Alcohol was involved, and we're also being quarked probably because Ghost is probably still alive, and and Captain Sundowner, or is it Captain Sundown? I forget which one.
Both
is it,
are
Sean?
acceptable.
Captain Sundown, aka Biden, is making his State of the Union.
The State of the Onion.
The state of the
Because we're
Union.
all going to cry.
Yeah, and what former President Donald Trump is doing his. I'm debunking the State of the Union.
Okay, let me just read you the. Oh, it's gone. Damn. There it is. Trump to live Truth Biden's State of the Union address tonight on Truth Social.
Yeah.
He's fact checking in real time.
He's doing it in real time. And I'm not sure I can really top that tonight because I got some interesting topics, but I don't think they're as interesting as one president debunking the current president live. I don't know if I can handle that kind of pressure. So if you guys need to go and watch that, go ahead and go watch that and come back for the replay. Okay?
If I could interject just slightly. Biden is going to focus on one thing tonight.
He's going to lie.
He's going to focus on, I've created 12 million jobs since I took over the White House.
And you've killed about 15 million. Congratulations.
No. Listen. I think he's right. I think he can say he claimed 12 million jobs since he took office. The problem is
government jobs don't count.
Not even that. 12 million jobs are all entry-level flippin' burger bullshit jobs post-COVID.
That nobody wants.
But people are taking them because they need a job.
Yeah.
So it's like, how many unemployment benefits and extensions have you had claimed under your administration before you got the 12 million jobs? Because America lost like 20 million jobs. So we're just playing catch up right now.
Right. But again, as I said, if you want to go watch that stuff, go watch that stuff. I won't complain. Just come back for the replay. So I've got some topics tonight. We're going to get right into it after I introduce everyone. So we're going to go run through the room real quick. Okay, so Scott was here first. So, Scott, how you doing tonight?
I am okay. Starting to turn into a black turd.
Well,
yes, you have. Tell me what you bought.
I accidentally bought a Glock 21 today.
Allegedly.
All right.
Well, we're still waiting for the credit card to clear. So.
Oof. Okay, Squib. All right. The next up, we've got Sean. What's going on, Sean?
Just hanging out. I had a 2.5-month-old nightmare end tonight, but I didn't get off my butt to go pick up my truck because that's a long story.
I'll
get it in the
story
morning
for the after chat. But Sean, how many beers are we in tonight?
Only 2.
Only 2. Okay, all right.
They were 10%ers though.
That's fine. And last but not least, he showed up at the last minute. We had Travis P11.
Hey man, I'm here. We're excited for tonight's topics. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I want to use your show to announce the newest purchase that's going to be showing up on my channel. I did buy a firearm last night. I'm going to have it in about a week. I spent a lot of money on a High Point JXP 10 millimeter handgun, so it's coming. I got to go about 90 miles to pick it up, but I got it for $215 out the door. So I thought that was a pretty fair price after tax.
That's a fair price.
No FFL, no shipping fees. Got it through Sportsman's Warehouse out in Grand Island, Nebraska. And I've been buying ammo for it for like a month now. So I'm already all stocked on 10 millimeter. So
you got like 4 boxes?
What's that?
So you got like 4 boxes?
Yeah, but
and you will still have taken delivery before the Yeet Cannon G2 still hasn't reached a single buyer.
Well, and I do want to add a 10 millimeter carbine to the collection too from High Point, so that way I can have mag compatibility between the gun and the rifle. So I'll be picking up a 10 millimeter carbine at some point too, because they're dropping down in price a little bit now.
Right.
But I'm excited, man. I'm pumped up. It's going to show up on Valentine's Day. So that's my love yourself first gift is what I call it. So yeah. Anywho, appreciate the invite, man. Thank you.
Yep. Well, I got an announcement today.
Oh, you're pregnant?
No. I got my holiday rebate from Heritage Firearms.
Ooh,
I got the $30 back. So
nice.
Now my Rough Rider was only like $70.
Dude, that's awesome, man.
So there was a silver lining today on that. That's why I had to go to the bank earlier, Sean.
That's good.
I can't reach my 10mm.
It's not worth me going to the bank for $30.
Well, I had to go and deposit other checks too. So
Oh, that's different.
Yeah, so, anyways, so there's that. What else? What else is going on? Sean posted this in his Discord news earlier today, and I had to go over it because it is ridiculous.
Mall ninjas rejoice.
No. Closet ninjas around the country rejoice because in the state of Indiana Senate passes bill to legalize throwing stars.
Now you too can fulfill your 1986 Shinobi fantasies.
It's true. It's true.
Actually, I had
nunchucks legal there.
So, yeah.
Could you imagine though? You're sitting in the mall food court, just munching away on your Panda Express, and all of a sudden, like 4 shuriken just fly by.
Yeah, that's what we used to do when we were kids, man. I bought a samurai sword at the mall when I was like 10. A real one.
Me too.
We had the ninja stores, I called it, at the mall.
Yeah. All right. Indianapolis. The Indiana Senate passed the bill that would legalize throwing stars under certain conditions. Throwing stars are currently illegal in Indiana, but the bill introduced by State Senate Linda Rogers would lift that ban for recreational use. Star throwing is allowed in other states where it's sometimes found at axe throwing businesses, because that's a thing. Yes. I've seen them before. So, basically you go target practice with axes and throwing objects like knives and sometimes ninja stars. Senate Bill 77 actually came from a constituent who owns a putt-putt golf course called Ninja Golf, explained Rogers. Nearly everyone that I spoke with said, hey, look, if we can throw axes, we certainly can throw throwing stars. Some say additional safety measures need to be considered since throwing a star is different from an axe. It's a double-edged sword, said Richardson DeChain, a co-owner of Ragnarok Axe Throwing LLC. Wow, that's a mouthful right there. In Indianapolis, he said throwing star blades can get bent and hooked over, increasing someone's odds of getting cut. I would say the easiest way for that to have any kind of solution is to require a layered Kevlar glove to be worn when they're throwing any other object like a throwing star, he said. Well, that's reasonable.
If you could dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball, but you might not be able to dodge a star.
You might not be able to dodge a star. Unless you're from, what was it, Lazy Joe's Gym?
Truth be told, I've never seen that movie.
Yeah. Come on. You've never seen Dodgeball? You need to see that movie. That movie's great.
Sure haven't.
Yeah. Anyways, the bill does include some restrictions. Star throwing would only be permitted at certain businesses, and children ages 12 to 17 could only throw stars with a parent's written permission. There are also requirements for fencing between throwing lanes. They're a ton of fun, and I think as long as we're being safe and we are educating people about them, I think absolutely something we should allow, Chain said. The bill passed the state Senate on a 48-1 vote.
Who's the one asshole?
Could you imagine an angry Asian dude that looks like Ken Jeong at a freaking, Cinnabon going, hey, and pointing at the sign, no stars here?
It leads to the House for the next consideration. So, but 48-1, who is that one asshole?
Rick.
He probably like lost an eye when he was a kid to a ninja star fight with his friends.
He's related to
And
Rick.
He got shot like shooting Roman candles at each other on 4th of July, and no fun for you.
Oh, hey, you guys. Rick's Life as I See It at gmail.com. Today is his 66th birthday. You should wish him a happy birthday because he doesn't have very many left. And he actually our beloved host here started a trend because Rick made this joke this morning saying, I was expecting someone to log in and start sending me PayPal birthday payments. And apparently, Night Strike was the first person to do it. So if you want to make Rick's birthday today, send him 66 cents. Because today he turned 66.
I gave him more than that.
Wow.
I was being nice,
You go $66,
All proceeds go towards his future Rock Island RIA 5.0 purchase on Black Friday of this year.
Which I would support. I would support that.
I would totally support that. I think that gun's awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, so
I don't see what the big deal about it is.
It's Rock Island's Hudson. Barrel. Well, it's a Rock Island Hudson H9, basically.
Is it though?
Yes.
The only difference is Hudson.
I still have it. The only difference is Rock Island's owner's wife doesn't have fake tits.
And the only difference is that, with your Hudson, you can't get replacement parts anymore.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, KE Arms makes them. But mine works, so I don't need replacement parts.
So I got an email today from Florida Carry saying that the HB 543, their constitutional carry bill, passed its first committee hearing. This is by Lee Williams from Florida Carry. At a hearing of the House Constitutional Rights, Rule of Law, and Government Operations Subcommittee held Tuesday for HB 543, concealed carry of weapons and firearms without a license. 7 amendments offered by Democratic committee members were offered, heard, and quickly shot down, and dozens of Floridians pleaded with the committee to add open carry to the bill. Okay.
So the race is on who's going to become the 26th constitutional carry state, right?
Exactly. Well, it's also going through the South Carolina House and Senate right now because both the House and Senate have filed, similar bills. So I'll go over that later.
There's a race in the entire Eastern Seaboard. It's South Carolina, Florida, and Georgia.
Yeah. If Florida gets it before South Carolina, then South Carolina will get it regardless because we usually follow Florida.
You guys should be ashamed that Texas got it before all of you.
Yeah, well,
Oh, ironically, New Hampshire got it before Texas.
Vermont got it before everybody.
You know what?
Arizona was a country.
Oh, Arizona beat all of you, so shut up.
Freaking Bernie Bros got it before anybody.
So, anyways, okay, let me continue on, please. Okay, HB 543, which has also been described as an unlicensed concealed carry, removes the requirement for Floridians to obtain a concealed weapons firearm license, or CWFL, in the state of Florida, before carrying a concealed handgun. The bill does not change the prohibitions or exceptions for open carry in the state. Representative Charles Chuck Brannon III, who sponsored the legislation with Representative Bobby Payne, said his bill eliminates the fees and wait times for law-abiding Floridians who want to carry a concealed weapon or firearm for self-defense. Brannon pointed out that HB 543 is strongly supported by law enforcement. 18 to 20 states attorneys in Florida and 60 to 67 Florida sheriffs support the bill. The Second Amendment guarantees the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, Brannon said. At least 25 other states, including our neighbors, Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia, authorize their citizens to carry firearms without requiring licensing by the government. With this bill, Florida has an opportunity to join these states without first having to obtain government permission, which I like. I like the avenue they're going. I just agree with a lot of the Floridians pleading that they add the ability to open carry as well, because then this would be a true constitutional carry bill, not a constitutional concealed carry bill. Okay. Amendments. Only Democrats on the committee offered amendments to the bill, all of which failed. Shocker. Representative Lindsay Michelle Cross offered an amendment that would require anyone who opts out and carries a concealed firearm without a CWFL to obtain at least $100,000 worth of insurance. Cross's amendment failed. Gee, I wonder why.
Because there's no insurance company that actually offers insurance.
Bingo.
Sure they do.
Okay.
Not for firearms.
No, for was it Texas Law Shield? That's my local one, but there are Law Shield type insurances for being involved in shooting situations for your legal fees all over the country.
Yeah, that's a contingency. They want you to have insurance like a car.
Not gonna work.
Okay.
Exactly.
Anyways, as I'm going on, Representative Gervonta Ty Edmonds proposed an amendment that would bar concealed carry in grocery stores, gas stations, music venues, or any religious institution.
Basically, any place useful.
Edmonds' amendment failed. Gee, shocker. But it goes on. Listen to this. Representative Catherine Waldron offered an amendment banning homemade firearms, which she called ghost guns. Woo!
I'm guessing that failed.
Her amendment failed. You see the trend here. I'm seeing it. I'm liking this trend.
Catherine and Karen.
Yes. Oh, it gets even better. Representative Dottie Joseph proposed 4 amendments. Her first amendment had 6 parts. Concealed carriers would need to do the following. 1, take a firearms safety class and pass a written exam. 2, provide a written statement from a Florida physician certifying they are mentally fit and free of drug abuse. Unlike every Democrat.
She'd be out of a job if she took that test.
Yeah, no kidding. 3, pass a mental health exam and drug screen. Well, then she's also screwed there.
Yeah, they can't force you to do that.
Take and pass a 1-day firearm class that includes a live fire test. The next one is establish secure storage for guns and ammunition, which would be inspected by a law enforcement officer. Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
And the last one was submit to fingerprinting and a background check. You already do that when you apply for a
you don't have any skim in that game.
So, by the way, her amendment failed. But again, I just want to reiterate how ridiculous that one was. Representative Joseph's second amendment would ban open carry at concert venues and polling places. Well, polling places, guns are already banned in most states.
Whereas that's actually one of the places where you need them the most.
I know.
Because there's always that lunatic asshole standing outside of a polling place browbeating people. Who'd you vote for? Did you know that the liberals are using like cosmic rays? And it's just like, can you please fuck off?
Yeah, I know. I agree with you 100%. But again, we the law is the law.
Okay, if we're going to talk about the law,
let me finish this. I'm almost done. I'm almost done with this. Let me get through this. Right? I got like one paragraph left. Right? Right. She said, under current law, open carrying at polling places is already prohibited, as is concealed carrying at polling places. Well, yeah. Well, I see open carrying being an issue. Okay, because you don't want to scare people. I'll give you that one just once, and this is the only time. But I don't see why you wouldn't allow them to conceal carry, because if you don't see it, what's the problem?
If you don't see it, then you don't even know if they had it in the first place.
Exactly. So, you can't open carry and go around trying to intimidate people, she said. I'm just trying to keep people safe. No, you're trying to add unjust. You're
trying to keep people under control.
Yeah.
Under your control.
This amendment failed. Her third proposed amendment would prohibit guns in cars, which she said would prevent firearm theft. It too failed because it's against castle doctrine, which they have in Florida. So, yeah. The last one would require background checks for private sales or when a firearm is loaned to family members for hunting or recreation. That one also failed. Gee, I wonder why.
So here's a thought. Instead of implementing more restrictional laws on your constitutional rights for the law-abiding citizen, why don't you actually work it on the other end of the spectrum where it actually matters? Why don't you just increase the severity of penalties for the criminal?
Because the Democrats
And
most of their
publicly
voters
make a
come from the
spectacle of
criminal
it.
aspect.
No, listen. If you publicly make a spectacle of the punishments levied against criminals, then the visual aid will deter fence-sitting criminals from going, I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
Whereas if everyone's caring and being polite and respectful,
right. There's a couple comments from the citizens on this one. Public comment. More than 120 people completed appearance cards requesting to testify before the committee about HB 543. Speaking on behalf of the Florida Sheriff's Association, Pinellas County Sheriff Bob Gualtieri said, "We support this bill. This bill doesn't do anything against public safety," he said. It doesn't increase the number of guns on the street. The bill protects the people's rights to protect themselves. The Florida sheriff strongly support this bill. Bob White said the legislation is not constitutional carry since it prohibits open carry. It does not eliminate prohibitions against campus carry or red flag laws, White said. It's a good thing to mention. Art Tom, state director of the National Rifle Association, I didn't know they were still around, spoke on behalf of the hundreds of thousands of NRA members in Florida. "We stand in support of this legislation," Tom said. He was not alone. Representatives from both Gun Owners of America and the National Association of Gun Rights, which I didn't even know they did anything, said they support the bill, adding that the legislation needs to be amended to add open carry. Eric Friday, general counsel for Florida Carry, who you've seen here on Hit or Miss, a couple of years ago. A couple of years ago, Friday was on here with Sean from Florida Carry. Okay? Florida Carry General Counsel pointed out that the U.S. Supreme Court noted 3 times that the Second Amendment is not a second-class right. Anyone virtuous enough to vote is virtuous enough to carry a firearm, Friday said. People have been denied their rights, and I have had to assure the Department of Agriculture under previous administrations to get their rights to get the license. People have waited over a year because the Department of Agriculture denied their license and denied hearings on their license. He pointed out that racist roots of gun control laws in Florida, said Friday, "It's time for Jim Crow to die, and this is a step towards that." The bill was voted favorably out of committee after a 3-hour hearing. All right. That was the end of that. But I think that's a step in the right direction. It would be better if there was open carry in there, but they're trying something at least. Okay, I'm happy they're trying something. So, comments. Travis, you live? Am I here by myself?
You're not here by yourself.
All right.
I already said my piece.
Yeah, you already said it. I know, but I'm just making sure I didn't miss anybody. I know nothing's gonna top the Ninja Stars, but still.
Well, I mean, how has no one ever been able to correctly argue that every concealed carry license is a poll tax? How have they not smashed that in the courts, saying, listen, you keep trying to compare everything to your driver's license. Driver's license is a privilege. Constitutional carry is your constitutional right afforded to you by the founding fathers of this nation. They're supposed to be inalienable rights. And then when people talk about public safety, right? Every time you get an take notes, people, because this is a really simple argument you can win every time. Okay? Grab a pen. Anytime any anti tells you, well, you have to think of the bigger picture. This is about public safety, right? What is more empowering for public safety? Leaving you vulnerable with restrictions as a law-abiding citizen, or empowering you with the tools you need because you have the right, the constitutional right, to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And that involves protection of your life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. You bring that up, and their argument dies on the vine.
They won't acknowledge it, though.
Anytime a gun control bill is passed, it is never about personal freedoms or protections. It's always about control. And when they talk about public safety, remind them, being disarmed leaves you vulnerable. Simple. I have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which involves my ability to protect those things. And I'm not going to let some lily-livered, vegan, supplementing, eating person who freaking identifies as an attack helicopter that day tell me like otherwise.
Hey, I identify as attack helicopter.
I don't think so.
It doesn't mean it's true.
Well,
obviously.
They think it's true.
Yeah. But if you think you're an attack helicopter when you're clearly not, you got issues.
I identify as an A-10 Warthog.
Yeah, well, I identify as an Apache. So
old, slow.
I always thought of myself as a Hind gunship. I'm kind of portly.
Old, slow, and unstoppable.
Yeah, I'm an Apache. So there you go. Though for reference, the Native American ancestry I do have, they're not Apache. Just FYI. So, the tribe I'm related to are the ones that came up with the dream catchers.
We don't talk about that. You were a little bighorn.
All right. Anyways, moving on. I heard this one the other day. We've been talking about it off and on with I've been talking about it with Scott and Sean, and Scott's been celebrating a little early, I think, but that's Scott's deal. But Judge rules ban on gun possession for marijuana users unconstitutional.
Yes.
So I wanted to talk about this. I got an article. I want to read a little bit of the article to see what their angle was, and then we can discuss. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So on May 20th, the defendant Jared Michael Harrison was pulled over by the Lawton Police Department for an alleged traffic violation. The officer smelled marijuana. Officers searched the car and found some, and they found his pistol. Harrison was on bond from Texas and was wearing an ankle monitor. Harrison was arrested and is awaiting trial. There are pending state charges on August 17th, 2022. A federal grand jury returned an indictment for possessing a firearm with the knowledge he was an unlawful user of marijuana in violation of statute 18 USC 922G3. One of these days we need to go over how to properly read United States Code. Just as a footnote, because we mentioned statute 18 USC 922 yada yada yada, but no one really knows how that's read.
It's read literally.
It's read literally. Obviously, me and Sean get it, but I realize that not everybody is in depth into the government as we are. So one of these days I want to go over that. All right.
Sure.
All right. Anyways, moving on. Harrison argued that, among other things, the charge violated the Second Amendment under the Supreme Court Bruin decision. United States District Court for the Western District of Oklahoma, Judge Patrick R. Wyrick, presiding, heard the case. The court is in the jurisdiction of the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals. The court found the prohibition on the possession of firearms as an unlawful user of marijuana was unconstitutional because there is no historical tradition of removing the right to keep and bear arms from people who use intoxicating substances, and And believe it or not, there are
Alcohol's
multiple.
okay.
Alcohol is an intoxicating substance, and it's okay. So, they said here's a summation of the court order from the order, page 1. Okay, before the court is defendant Jared Michael Harrison's motion to dismiss the indictment, DKT 17, which argues that the statute he is charged with violating 18 USC 922 G3 is unconstitutionally vague, in violation of the due process clause, and unconstitutionally infringes upon his fundamental rights to possess a firearm, in violation of the Second Amendment. For the reasons given below, the motion is granted. Here's the exact wording of that statute in question, from law.cornell.edu. 18 USC 922 G3. G. It shall be unlawful for any person, 3, who is an unlawful user of an addicted user of or addicted to any controlled substance, as defined in Section 102 of the Controlled Substances Act, 21 USC 802, to ship, transport in interstate or foreign commerce, or possess in or affecting commerce any firearm or ammunition, or to receive any firearm or ammunition which has been shipped or transported in interstate or foreign commerce. That's pretty vague. The court noted the ban on the possession is fairly recent and was not enacted until 1981. From the opinion of page 5, they go on to say, Section 922G3 does not have deep roots. It wasn't enacted by Congress until the Gun Control Act of 1968. The statute initially prohibited any individual who is an unlawful user or addicted to marijuana or any depressant or stimulant drug, which some people are legally prescribed these depressants. Okay, there's not just antidepressants. Yes, or narcotic drug from receiving a firearm, but it was amended in 1986 to broadly prohibit the receipt or possession of a firearm by any person who is an unlawful user or addicted to any controlled substance, which, that sucks, as defined in Section 102 of the Controlled Substances Act, 21 USC 802. In its modern form, 922G3 thus strips a person of their fundamental right to possess a firearm the instant that the person becomes an unlawful user of marijuana, and in the United States view all users of marijuana are unlawful users. Without a historical tradition of infringing on rights protected by the Second Amendment of those who use intoxicating substances, the statute is unconstitutional. From the order, page 7, the question here is, thus, whether stripping someone of their right to possess a firearm solely because they use marijuana is consistent with the nation's historical tradition of firearm regulation. If it is not, the 922G3 cannot be constitutionally applied to Harrison, no matter the reasonableness of the policy it embodies. There's a little bit left. I want to finish it. The court goes on to show, while there were occasional laws prohibiting possession or use of firearms while intoxicated, there were no laws prohibiting possession of firearms or merely because the possessor used intoxicating substances. Previous laws, which were not common, only prohibited carry or use in very narrow circumstances, sometimes only very narrow dates, such as December 31st to January 3rd. In short, there is no historical tradition of banning the right to keep and bear arms simply because a person uses intoxicating substances. The conclusion of the court is clear from the order. Because the court concludes 18 USC 922 G3 violates Harrison's Second Amendment rights to possess a firearm, the court declines to reach Harrison's vagueness claim. The motion to dismiss the indictment isn't granted. Accordingly, the indictment is dismissed with prejudice. It is so ordered this day, 3rd of February, 2023. The court noted the late provenance of the ban, which did not occur until 1986. This shows how slippery slope works in practice. There's no such ban in 1938, when the first list of federally prohibited providers was created. The users or addicted to group was added in 1968. It only applied to receiving firearms, not possessing them. Finally, the group was significantly enlarged in 86, and the prohibition was enlarged to include the mere possession.
Time out.
Okay.
What is the significance of every year you have cited?
Gun control. National
Firearms Act, Gun Control Act, Hughes Amendment.
Well, I didn't say 34. I said 38. But there's an NFA Act.
34, 68. You said 68.
I said 38 and 68 and 86.
But it wasn't it NFA of 30?
No, NFA was 34.
Right.
38 was I think they amended it in 38. Okay. 68 was the Gun Control Act.
Correct. And then 86.
86 machine gun ban.
Correct. And that's all. How convenient that these all dropped on the same damn years.
Yeah, very convenient.
So, I have a question. I have an existential question.
I got one more.
Well, it's gonna be the same question no matter what.
I'm almost done. Let me finish. Okay.
All right.
The slippery slope facilitating many infringements on rights protected by the Second Amendment has moved court jurisprudence a long way since 1942. The Supreme Court has an originalist and textualist majority for the first time in 80 years. They are beginning to uphold the Second Amendment as it's written. And that's the end of the article. But okay. But I wanted to read that last part because that's important.
None of it is.
Well, no. That important. The important part that they're actually upholding the text and
Again, none of that is. Yeah. I'll tell you why.
Okay, let's go down the rabbit hole. Why, Sean?
We live in a day and age where a non-elected bureaucratic agency reinterprets whatever the hell they want and then levies legislation and turns 40 million law-abiding citizens into felons overnight. Why has that same level of scrutiny not been applied to these bullshit restrictions? Because let me tell you something, okay? Most drugs go through the FDA. Most drugs are synthesized in a lab and put in a capsule. If I took a seed of a tomato and stuck it in a plant or stuck it in a pot and filled it with water and I talked to my plants and I put it in sunlight, I get tomatoes. That is not a drug. If I take a weed seed and I stick it in the dirt and I grow it and I talk to my plants and I put it in sunlight and I give it sunlight and water and everything, right? That's not a drug either. That's a plant, like a tomato. Mm-hmm. The only difference is I took this plant and I dried it like tobacco, which nobody bats an eye at, and consume it.
Mm-hmm.
That is not the definition of a drug. That's a plant. That is the tomato's a fruit, but you get my point.
So, yeah, no, I get your point, and I'm gonna.
You can make an argument for heroin. You can make an argument for opium and cocaine. Those have to be chemically processed. I can take weed, grow it, dry it, roll it, and smoke it, and not process a fucking thing. And you can let alcohol fly under the radar for the last 100 years without batting an eye. Well, don't browbeat me over weed.
There was that one prohibition for a few years.
Yeah, and look how long that lasted. And if you think about it,
I had family that made beer for the whole city.
My great-grandfather had the biggest brewery and distillery in West Virginia. Okay? The fact of the matter is this. You let alcohol fly under the radar. You tried to restrict it. Because you did that, you opened up the gates of hell of organized crime, and your response was gun control. You fucking idiots.
Well, I wanted to. I was alluding to the significance and the importance that they're actually making rulings on the Second Amendment.
People drop significant infringements on us.
I know this, but that's not what I was getting at. But let's ignore what Night Strike is saying and you just go on a tangent about something else, please.
Let's just be mad at the idiots that are in charge of us.
I already am. That's why you shall not be infringed from the top of my lungs.
That was okay.
Prove me wrong.
I just want to hear you say shall not be infringed again. Just do it with more force this time.
Shall not be infringed.
There you go. Are we done?
No, we're not done. Well, we're done with that one. We're done with that one. But we had some comments out there that I had to address. Okay,
Go on.
Gun websites out there were saying if you smoke 9mm, do you know what you are getting into and deserve what happens to you? Loss of job, nose falls off, loss of bowel
buying
control,
high points,
lung issues,
start
sadness,
pawning your skies,
metric addiction, etc.
Let me counter that.
Hold on. Let me finish. What I did was after I saw that, I put a poll up saying,
I saw it.
Does gun websites like 9mm?
Yes.
Yes or no? 67% so far are saying yes. 29% say no. Now it's 71% says yes. And now he's calling it a hashtag fake poll.
Let me spin this a different way, okay?
Well, New York Outcast says it's all a conspiracy so he can find the 9mm for himself.
Wait a minute. Let me give you my own personal history. 9mm Kurtz, okay? 9 short, also known as 380 ACP, was my gateway drug. My first pistol is in my avatar. It was a PPK. I bought it in 380. That led me to my second pistol purchase, a 44 Magnum. And that led to my third pistol purchase, which I'm cleaning right now in my lap, a 454 Casull. It is a gateway drug. You can make the argument that 9mm is the gateway to debauchery. I will counter that 9mm short, granted, was the gateway to my big bore life.
Yep.
For every bad instance, I can counter with a good one, because I am the good one.
All right. Now, the poll was done in jest, so I'm going to end the poll in 5 seconds. So if you haven't gotten a vote in, get it in, because it's going to end in like 10 seconds. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
I can tell you he likes 2, 10 because it's one more.
1.
And the results are?
Results are 62% say yes, 37% say no.
Wait a minute. He says 380 ACP is a decent caliber.
Because it's not 9mm.
It is.
No, it's not 9mm Pellerbellum.
9 Largo.
No, 9 Largo is 9x21.
357 Magnum. It's the ultimate 9mm.
No, the ultimate 9mm is 357.
357 maximum is the ultimate 9mm. Anyway.
No.
Yeah.
No. All right, I got one more, but
35 Remington.
I got one more because I didn't think we would go through all these articles so fast. But
you almost made the hour. What are you talking about fast?
Yeah. I think we're gonna skip the short act because that's still ongoing.
Yes.
I think we're going to get to what's going on in Israel because, Sean and Travis, I don't know if Scott was too much in the gun channel's lobbies a lot, but Sean and Travis will remember our good friend Amit from the gun channel's days.
I still talk to him.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't talked to him forever. I need to talk to him.
Yeah, man.
Reservist, tank commander, freedom fighter.
He's also a tank pilot at one point, too.
Also looks like Ron Perlman.
Yeah, he does. A little bit. It does. Yeah. Yeah. But only when he shaves.
Yes. Non-liberal version of Ron Perlman.
Non-liberal version, yes.
Yes.
So, apparently what's going more guns. Things are looking up in Israel. This is from the Times of Israel. Ben-Gvir announces plans to streamline gun license applications after terror attacks. National Security Minister says licensing department to get double the personnel and work longer hours and security officers will no longer need to be interviewed. So Ben-Gvir announced his plan to streamline gun license applications after terror attacks. Terrorists want to die, but only on their own terms. Our goal is to grant them half their wish. Phil Messina says.
I love that.
I love that too. That's why we're going over this, because I thought this was like really funny. Israel's national security minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir, is making big changes at his ministry's firearm licensing department, making it vastly easier for Israeli citizens to own and carry guns for personal protection. Citing several recent examples where armed citizens incisively thwarted terrorist attacks, Ben-Gvir said, these are excellent examples of the great necessity and importance of our citizens carrying guns. We have had a duty to speed up the process and dramatically shorten the bureaucracy for the safety of our children, for the lives of all of us. Currently in Israel, those who want to own and carry guns still have to show a need and be personally interviewed in order to be granted a license to do so. And what I remember Amit telling us, me, Travis, and Sean, when we were talking with him, he said it was really hard at that time to get a license there because you had to be connected and you had to have a reason. And his reason was being a reservist, formerly a part of the military.
He's active now.
A tank commander. I know. I didn't hear he got reactivated. Okay?
Yeah, he's active now.
So, and then he also mentioned, I gotta have it in. So, I'm hoping my commander will sign off. His reservist commander would sign off on him getting a permit, and he eventually did sign off on it, and he got it, and he was so happy. But the guns Amit was looking at, it's like, remember one of the guns he was looking at getting to just carry around for his concealed carry was a Walther P1 or as everyone knows, a Walther P38. You remember that, Sean?
Yes, but you're leaving out a very glaring detail here.
I'm not done with the article, but I don't remember all the details. Okay, so it's okay. Tell me what I missed.
The biggest detail about Israeli carry laws is you're allowed to own one pistol and maybe one shotgun if you go through the whole process, right?
I was getting to that, but yes, that's the one downside.
Here's the really kick in the pants. If you want a different carry pistol than the one you own,
you have to
give up the one you have.
You have to give up the one you have, let them know you've given it up, and you're going to buy a different one.
Yeah.
And then inform them what that one is once you buy it.
Yes. And it's like, that's still not liberty and freedom when you have to trade it in like a goddamn library book.
No, but we're going to see what the rest of this article says, okay?
Okay.
But I wanted to go over that for those that didn't know that we had a Gun Channels member that was from Israel, and it was an avid gun guy himself.
He's still alive, dude.
I don't talk to him anymore, so I'm using past tense. Get over it.
He's not dead.
That's fine. All right. However, Army officers and NCOs are not required to return their guns nor be interviewed when they are discharged from reserve service, and citizens who have been in continuous possession of a firearm permit for 10 years are now allowed to retain it indefinitely. Okay, I did not know that had changed.
Mm-hmm.
So, recently, an enormous surge in gun applications by frightened Israelis has flooded Ben-Gvir's ministry. This in the wake of destructive Arab rioting in a number of cities, continuing anti-Jewish threats by Hamas, as well as other notorious terror groups, and last week's precipitous murder of 7 unarmed Israelis outside of a Jerusalem synagogue, perpetrated by a single Palestinian terrorist, subsequently killed by police, by the way. Yet many, probably most, ultra-Orthodox Israeli Jews have never served in the military nor in police services, owing to religious tenets. And many among them believe carrying guns on the Sabbath represents a violation of Jewish law. They and their families thus remain incredibly vulnerable, but that is their choice. Comment: Benjamin Netanyahu and Itamar Ben-Gvir are modern Israeli Israeli heroes, trying their best to protect citizens and promote individual freedom and liberty while still working within overgrown, self-protective, impossibly sluggish government bureaucracies. Yeah, well, everybody's dealing with bureaucracy these days. There's simply no way any species of bureaucracy will ever voluntarily reduce its size and influence. In fact, there's only one thing any bureaucracy ever does well, and that is promote itself. No, not itself, but how much paperwork you have to submit. And this is someone who's had to deal with bureaucracy on a ridiculous scale before. Don't ask. Amoebic, power-hungry bureaucracies, is there any other kind, continue to suffocate the rights and liberties of all of us, here and there. It takes real heroes to put them in their place before we all find ourselves confined within a gigantic, omnipresent post office. There's another comment says, I live in the managerial age, in a world of admin. The greatest evil is not now done in sordid dens of crime that Dickens loved to paint, nor is it done in concentration camps. In those, we see its final result. Rather, it is conceived and ordered, moved, seconded, carried, and minuted in clean, carpeted, warmed, and well-lighted offices by quiet men in white collars, cut fingernails, and smooth-shaven cheeks who have never needed to raise their voices. Hence, naturally enough, my symbol for hell is something like the bureaucracy of a police state. C.S. Lewis. All right. And that's the end of that article, and that's the end of that. And, you know, we need to talk to Amit. We need to get Amit on one of these days. And if we have to do that on off hours, then we'll do it on off hours and just air the episode at 9:00.
Oh yeah, it'll be the Tuesday morning strike.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It's just, you know, we got to talk to him again. You say he's still around, okay? I haven't seen him, so I was talking in past tense. But Sean doesn't like me talking in past tense
because he's not dead.
Past tense doesn't necessarily mean they're dead. It just means you don't talk to them.
He does the Facebook thing. He is a bastion of humorous cynicism.
He does have quite
surrounding
the sense of humor. I'll tell you that.
You have to be when you're constantly under threat of annihilation.
Yeah. Travis, I don't think they have golems anymore.
No, I wrote that. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, Sean. I don't think they have golems anymore.
No, that was just in lieu of what happened, natural disaster wise.
Travis, are you back?
Yeah, dude, I've been back listening for like the last hour.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I've just been listening to you guys bickering back and forth over whether or not that guy's still alive. So yeah,
he's still very much alive.
Wasn't my place to stop the argument from escalating, you know.
Okay, so comments on the last couple topics, okay? Because you've been very quiet. So what did you think about the whole unconstitutionality of owning a firearm and being a user of marijuana?
I think it makes sense. I mean, just the problem that you're going against is just the federal regulations of the drugs, you know, and I don't know. I mean, is there any way to get this completely struck down or not?
There has to be.
Because
they allow alcohol and tobacco to be perfectly legal, quote, drugs. They have to.
And they're regulated.
Yeah, it's like you can't have some and not all. But then again, you can draw a line between legalities of synthesis, I guess is a good way to put it. You know, it's like you can't grow a poppy plant and have opium just by drying it and smoking it. That doesn't work that way. But you can take weed like tea leaves and dry it and consume it, and it's like that's not drug. That's perfectly natural. It's been a cure-all for centuries, millennia even. And we always say everything in moderation.
In our lifetime, you know, we'll see a 50-state legalization of pot or cannabis or whatever, and you know.
Okay, question then. Question, Travis.
Yeah.
What do you think will happen first? 50-state constitutional carry in this country, which is a fundamental constitutional right to every law-abiding American in this country, or 50 state acceptance of marijuana.
50 state acceptance of marijuana, because states like New York and California will never allow constitutional carry, but they're happy thriving off of, legal drug sales of recreational drugs.
Tax money.
Yeah, I would see, because they know that it's easier to please the masses by giving,
that's the tragedy.
The people what they want. It'd be easier to make pot legal and like benefit from it than it would be for them to sell out on their own beliefs or control and allow 50 state concealed carry or 50 state constitutional carry. Yeah, no, pot before constitutional carry, easy.
That's sad. But
Nebraska will be one of the last states to get legalized recreational pot, or whatever you want to call it, medicinal pot, that doesn't require
nobody in Nebraska cares to prosecute it.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying we always shoot it down because we're such a conservative state. And people
on
literally
paper.
take their children
on paper, but you only have one legislative house instead of two.
Yeah.
But I mean, on paper, it's like, okay, yeah, we don't like that. But it's like, when's the last time you heard anyone get busted for a pot possession in Nebraska?
No, people get busted for possession all the time in the newspaper. You see it all the time. People get, we do really well busting people driving through our state on Interstate 80. That it's funny how many bad drivers have out-of-state plates that go across our state. They get pulled over by the highway patrol. It's like, oh, they went right of center. What? Yeah, and so it is kind of interesting because we have some massive drug busts that happen on Interstate 80. I mean, I'm sure we catch like 1% of what really comes through, but they will have tons and tons of everything that they confiscate, that the highway patrol confiscates every year.
Mike, I want to talk about the Chinese balloon debacle.
Yeah. By the way, I am going to make that a video.
Okay, just for a second, I'd like to touch on that because
all right, let's talk about the balloon that got blown up over South Carolina.
Yeah, it got blown up off the coast of South Carolina. It had a 6-minute window before it entered international waters, so they had to be quick about it.
Yeah, but it was on the South Carolina coast, so score one for South Carolina.
Well, the contents of that shooting down is now in Quantico.
Yes,
but the funniest thing I saw is a meme today. America prepares the response to Chinese balloons over the mainland. And it was that British giant Trump baby balloon. And I thought, can we do that and fly it over China and fill it with their very own fentanyl? So when they pop it, it poisons their people. And we just write return to sender on the diaper. Is that wrong for thinking that way?
I don't know, but I don't think that's a good idea.
I think it's a great idea.
But again, I'm going to check the YouTube side to make sure this shows up properly. But I wanted to share this image I saw from Mr. Snow on Instagram. I posted it in the meme and vomit, so Scott and Sean have seen it already. But
yeah, I almost fell out of my chair when I saw that. But the Trump balloon.
I just thought it was kind of ironic the route that it took. It basically followed where all of our mountain bases are and ICBMs are. Like right
it's a peaceful weather.
Colorado,
balloon.
Nebraska, Kansas, and then east. Like it went over Sac Air Force Base. It went over Kansas where there's silos.
We were completely aware of that thing being in our airspace since January 28th, right?
So
before they even mentioned,
they said that it wasn't like a territorial threat or something. It's like what?
Right.
So here's the thing: they said that they didn't want to shoot it over U.S. airspace, right?
There we go. They can see it out there. It's not blurry now, guys, but it says we've been trying to contact you about your car's extended warranty.
I have a theory about why they waited so long.
If this is the actual balloon itself, as this is the real picture of the balloon,
it is.
I'd like to critique it. Look at what are
it's
those
got solar panels on it. It's got a basic gantry. It's got a camera on the left side and the right side.
And my question is, where are the Chinese children running it?
In China.
Or where is the pilot?
There isn't one. It's a balloon.
That's a bad idea.
So there was a theory that the reason that they did the balloon was because it was an exhibition of how weak their satellite technology is. I don't buy that for a second.
I don't either.
If you think about it, the world's greatest world war will be a nation who is constantly looking for a deal versus a nation who never wants to give you a deal. China versus India. For the Chinese to use a balloon instead of a satellite, it was simply because they were trying to do it the most cost-effective way possible.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's all it is. And the fact that they sent 2 is proof for me that it's a time lapse to show what our reaction time and activity and movement time is.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the best part. So I think you and I talked about this earlier this week. The fact of the matter is this. We could not shoot it down when we saw it in the Aleutians. The reason being, because I have been there and I have been in said Bering Sea. If you shot that thing down over the Bering Sea, you will never get that thing back. The sea is black. It is so dark. If it hit the water, you'll never see it again. The water is so turbulent and so unforgiving that you would never recover it. If you shot it down over Montana, okay, I will agree you have an argument there. That is a state of 500,000 lakes. You have a good chance of recovering it. But they didn't because we're led by idiots.
It's not too early to joke about the balloon.
It went across most of continental U.S. where most of the Air Force bases were.
Yeah.
That's dangerous. Why didn't you shoot it down over land? Their excuse, we didn't want it to crash into the civilian population. I'm calling bullshit. You didn't want the civilian population to intercept it before you can collect it.
The problem is it didn't go over Area 51. If it had gone over Area 51, I tell you what, it would have been a non-issue. It wouldn't even be in the news because they would have shot it down already.
No, because the Pentagon was the one who instructed the president not to do it.
Yes, they would have shot it down right over Area 51 because that's restricted airspace.
Isn't that Mark Milley's territory, the Pentagon? Isn't he the guy who sort of makes all these public calls? What do we think about him lately?
I think he's an asshole, and I really don't like him.
Look, he's got the same eyes that look like ball sacks, like George Soros.
Yeah, I don't like him. I don't like Milley, period.
Nobody does.
No, he's just a kiss ass that does what he does to stay where he is, and I don't like him.
There's a saying that when you go from what is it? When you go from oak leaf clusters to birds, you become a politician. Which means when you leave the rank of major, you're no longer an officer, you're a politician. And he's a 4-star general.
But you're right. I don't think we should send fentanyl in it, but
no, return to sender. Fuck that.
No. Hold on. Let me finish. All right, Sean. I don't think we should fill the balloon with fentanyl. We should probably fill it. Hi, we've heard your car's warranty is about to expire.
No. Fentanyl.
No.
It only takes a couple of grains to kill a human being. If you fill the whole damn thing and you drop it over a major population center and they start wondering why they're all dropping like flies, we'll just be like, I don't know what you're talking about. This came to our country and we didn't want it, so we sent it back. Sorry. You shot it down. It's a you problem, not an us problem.
Yeah, no, don't fill it with anything. Just send a spy over there.
Think of Tim Burton's 1989 Batman. Uh-oh, somebody's been using brand X. And what did he use? A gigantic balloon full of gas, didn't he? See? Return to sender. Sorry, we're not interested in this. You can have it back.
All right. We're as G-Web says, we're getting into 4D dodgeball, and that's too much dodgeball for me. So
yes, but do you know what we dodge the most?
The
State of the Onion.
The State of the Onion, or The Union by Captain Sundown.
No,
and on that note,
we're all crying.
We're going through the room. Scott, do you have any words of wisdom for us? Okay, I guess not.
Strong silent type.
Speak softly and carry a big stick. Okay.
Oh, I can't do that. I put down the 454. I'm actually polishing a 9mm now.
So, Sean, do you have any final words of wisdom?
Always always wash your hands before eating chicken nuggets.
Okay. Travis, any final words of wisdom?
Yeah, man. Whatever you're gonna be the best.
You're the best around.
Be the best. You got to pass the test.
Finally.
Anyways,
where the hell is that from? I know that movie.
I know what that movie is.
Anyways,
on that note, shut up, being infringed. We'll see you next week, guys.
We'll see you
Thank
Friday.
you all for listening. We'll be back with Sean and crew on Friday for the War Room. So check that out on Sean's channel. And on that note, we're out of here. Adios, Felicia. Te amo, Felicia. Te amo.
Hey, Felicia, why don't you call me?
Felicia, mi amor.
Slide up into them DMs, girl.
And Felicia Navidad.
Felicia Navidad.
Karate Kid, by the way.
Yeah. How do I turn this damn thing off?
What's this button do?